What does hell look like? Is it just a burning darkness with eternal torment? Perhaps an empty place separated from God? Or is it something much more complicated than the Bible's description, assuming that it's even a real place? There was a man who claimed that he visited hell once and managed to come back. He even wrote a book about it. This man was Dante Alighieri, a devout Christian who is the author of the Divine Comedy. Thus, the original question transforms. What does Dante's hell look like? Imagine stepping through an ancient iron-bound gate swathed in flame. The air crackles with an unearthly heat, and every whisper you make seems to echo like a curse. Here, every sin has sculpted its own domain of torment, a realm where justice and misery intertwine. The walls are carved with a warning: abandon all hope, ye who enter here. A shiver runs down your spine as you witness the twisted landscapes of the Inferno. 9 circles, each representing the punishment for a specific sin with poetic justice. First comes Limbo, a vast empty field frozen in melancholy. Here lie souls of people who never knew true faith, virtuous individuals that lived free of sin, but didn't know or accept the true God. Philosophers, artists, even infants caught between worlds. There is no physical torment in Limbo, only an endless yearning for a paradise that they can never reach. The circle whispers of loss, longing, reminding us of the sorrow of existence itself. Below Limbo, we enter the tempest of lust, restless spirits caught in a never-ending whirlwind. Lovers and seducers, consumed by desire, are now at the mercy of the intense winds. Bodies twist and turn midair, as if the storm is a ravenous beast devouring them. Every touch, every embrace they once craved, becomes a cruel mockery, as the winds just as uncontrollably leave those souls restless and prevent them from ever finding peace. Next lies a foul swamp of filth, the circle of gluttony. Souls filled with emptiness wallow face down in freezing mud. Those who previously overindulged in food and drinks are now tormented by the very sustenance they once craved. Eternal rain lashes them, every droplet a punishment for their excess. Maggots feasting upon the grotesque swollen creatures that originally were humans. But that's not all. The infamous 3-headed hellhound, Cerberus, ruthlessly biting the gluttons and preventing their escape. Their bloated forms groan in agony beneath the weight of endless want. What an ironic nightmare of appetite turned into misery. This is the circle of greed, a desolate plain stripped of color and warmth. Disfigured faceless souls that were once human clash into each other in eternal grinding opposition, pushing monstrous boulders in a ceaseless circle. The weight they carry? It's symbolic. It's gold, status, possessions. This circle is divided into 2 groups, those who hoard and those who squander. The hoarders are pushing massive weights, representing the burden of their accumulated wealth, while the squanderers are charging at them, reflecting the wasteful way of life they've been living. Both sides ironically despise one another. They scream to each other, "Why did you hoard? Why did you squander?" not realizing that they are both representing the extremes of greed. The 5th circle is defined by the river Styx, a dark, swampy flow of water that leads to a flooded layer known as wrath. In this domain of anger, clothless people are constantly punching one another, trying to push each other into the mud. Every soul is trying to come up on top, while the mindless violence leads to some of them reaching the very bottom of the muddy pit. Sometimes there are bubbles coming from the mud, hinting that there are people screaming and gurgling in silence, a manifestation of their repressed rage. Circles from 6 to 9 are different. They are separated from others by a wall, and all of them are located in the city of Dis, not to be confused with the city of These. The gates of this massive iron-walled fortress are defended by the fallen angels that followed Lucifer and rebelled against God. After somehow passing through these obstacles, we arrive into the circle of Heresy, a vast, dry plain full of open tombs, glowing like iron in a forge. Souls trapped inside a flaming coffin, screaming as eternal fire consumes them. This circle is where people who strained others from the path of God by deception or misguidance reside. This includes followers of any religion other than Christianity, and even philosophers like Epicurus, who told his disciples that there is no life after death. Essentially, heretics who rejected the possibility of eternal life are now confined to eternal suffering in fiery tombs. This punishment, along with the previous ones, reflects Dante's idea of contrapasso, a principle where punishment fits the sins committed, a form of poetic justice, literalizing the metaphor of the sin. Circle 7 is where things get a bit more complicated, because the circle of violence is divided into 3 rings: violence against others, violence against self, and violence against God. All 3 of those parts are connected by a phlegathon, a boiling river of blood that flows through all 3 rings, deepening in horror. In the first ring, there are souls that willfully committed murder, tyranny, or torture. People like Alexander the Great, Attila the Hun, are tormented here by centaurs who constantly shoot arrows into imprisoned souls so that they never get out of the boiling blood. In the second ring, scenery changes to a dark forest that is completely filled with dead trees. Those trees were once people who took their own lives or hurt their own bodies. Their torment isn't as simple as losing their bodies forever, but having the ability to still feel pain as dead trees, while mythical creatures called harpies are constantly flying in circles, ripping branches and fruits as they regrow, causing eternal pain to souls stuck in this place. Lastly, in the third ring, we appear to be in a burning desert full of scorching sand, fiery rain, and flaming flakes. Some people are constantly walking in circles, some are sitting, while others are laying down. The way Dante describes the mechanics of this ring, it seems that people are forced to walk on the burning sand, and if they decide to rest by sitting, they will be stuck on that position for 100 years, while those who decide to lay down stay there for eternity. Dante even notes that the ones laying down have the loudest screams. One particular idea that is displayed throughout this book is the divinity of love and kindness. Thus, the betrayal of those is considered to be the most hated by the god, which is why fraud is almost the lowest circle of them all. Fraud isn't just punished here, it's dissected into 10 distinct cancers of the soul. These are mentioned as bolgia, each one displaying a grotesque theater where sin becomes its own prison. In this layer of hell, you would find all kinds of people: those who sold their sisters for lustful men, those who lied all the time, church corruptors, false prophets, corrupt politicians, hypocrites, thieves, scammers. You get the idea. Each type of fraud had its own punishment that mocked the way those people lived. Penderers, for example, were forced to endlessly run, and every time they slowed down, they would be whipped by some horned demons. False prophets, or so-called witches, had their heads twisted backward, forced to see only the past. Corrupt politicians were boiled in oil, while hypocrites were forced to walk eternally wearing cloaks coated with lead. Thieves getting bit by lizards and turning to dust over and over again, and many other creative ways of torment. But the worst has yet to come. Welcome to the bottom of hell, the circle of treachery. It is really cold in here, so cold that the very air crystallizes into a suffocating silence. You look down and realize that what you're standing on is a vast, frozen lake that has souls trapped inside. You look around and see hats of people sticking up the ice as they try to scream but can't because their whole bodies are frozen. This is the circle where we can find individuals who betrayed their loved ones. Similarly to the last couple of layers, this one is also divided into 4 distinct parts, each dedicated to a specific type of treachery: betrayal of family, treason, betrayal of friends, and the betrayal of God. The first 3 have a relatively similar method of punishment. The 4th, however, is a different story. As you walk towards this part of treachery, you notice that the air has become much colder than before. There are no more heads wedged inside of a lake. Instead, you see an enormous creature, larger than anything you've ever seen before. This being has giant wings, which turns out flaps so powerfully that it creates wind, keeping the lake frozen. This monstrosity is Lucifer himself, Satan with 3 faces, each a different color. Make no mistake though, he is no ruler of hell, but its prisoner, a petrified engine of despair, forever chewing the architects of history's greatest betrayals. On the sides, Lucifer constantly bites and scratches Brutus and Cassius, who were responsible for conspiring a murder on Julius Caesar. ending the original Roman Empire. In the middle of Satan's mouth, you witness the ultimate destiny of Judas, a man who betrayed and ensured crucifixion of Jesus Christ himself. And this is the end of hell. Dante's Inferno is the most detailed depictions of hell anyone has ever written. That said, it really shouldn't be taken as anything serious, nor accurate. Throughout reading his work, it sometimes seems Dante wrote this solely to mock anyone he disliked, political rivals, corrupt popes, even philosophers who challenged his views. Yet, the imagination Dante had to conjure up these absurdly poetic punishments for a specific wrongdoing is truly astounding.